Today's episode is another one of the TQQ, where the three of us are putting together our teams of questionable quality. In previous episodes, we've already put in our goalkeepers and we've put in both of our fullbacks. So if you've not already listened to those, go back and listen to them first. Today's focus are our two centre halves. So already we've had a number of players go into our teams of very, very questionable quality, and I can only imagine some of the absolute dross that will go into our teams in today's episode. So let's have a look then at the centre halves we've gone for. Cash, who is your first centre-back of choice for your TQQ?
There is only one name, mate. There's only one name that goes into this team of questionable quality, and that is, he has to be an Arsenal player, but he's absolutely the worst centre-half I've ever watched play football. It is Sebastian Squillaci.
I've got him as well.
I also one of my choices is also an Arsenal centre-half, but it's not Squillaci. So
Who is it?
Shkodran Mustafi.
There's a very common theme beginning to come up in this TQQ, and it's basically Arsenal.
Yeah,
You've got a solid back four coming here for the Arsenal. Solid back four: Carl Jenkinson, Andre Santos at left back, and then you've got Shkodran Mustafi. Oh my god! Oh my god!
For Danny Ward in goal, first.
Well, this is the second time we've gone for the same player, Cash, because we've got the same goalkeeper in Aurelio Gomez. And now we've both got Sebastian Squillaci in our back line.
Oh, we're clearly on the same wavelength. That's brilliant.
Oh, dear.
Oh, mate.
Oh, dear, mate.
How bad was Mustafi, though? How bad was he?
I mean, there's a plethora of Arsenal centre-halves that I could have picked. I almost went for John Giroud as well. I went for,
he was bad.
I thought Laurent Koscielny was pretty poor as well. I thought...
No.
Yeah, mate, Pony.
No.
Yeah, Pony.
No.
However,
Laurent Koscielny's he's in the top 100, Adam. He's in the top 100.
Be careful, he might put Shkodran Mustafi in the top 100 as well. Yeah, Shkodran Mustafi, poor, is the way to describe Shkodran Mustafi. I mean, how he played over 100 times for Arsenal is beyond me.
You know, when we signed him, he was like, I think he had some really poor games. And he came out and he said, look, I'm getting a lot of stick at the minute. But honestly, I don't like playing centre-half. I think I'm better in midfield. You're having a laugh. We signed you as a centre-back. You need to play as a centre-back. Arsene Wenger is playing you at centre-back, but you think, nah, I'm a midfielder, really. Honestly, crazy.
Arsenal signed Mustafi on the 30th of August 2016 for £35 million. £35 million for an absolute donkey at centre-half.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've seen Hearses move quicker than he could.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
He wasn't as slow as Mertesacker, though, was he?
Well, no, he wasn't quite that slow, but I mean, he was...
No, but to be fair, there's actually not a lot of highs for his Arsenal career, to be fair. The only real thing of note I can find here is Mustafi beat Bakary Sagna's record unbeaten starts of 17 games at a club when Arsenal drew 3-3. So he played 17 times in a row and Arsenal didn't lose when he started. However, I think his biggest failing was in the EFL Cup final against Man City, where the ball gets booted up from Man City's goalkeeper, and Shkodran Mustafi, he pretends like Sergio Aguero has pushed him when he hasn't, and he just heads it on off the back of his head, and then Sergio Aguero goes in and scores. And the only thing he does, he doesn't turn around, he just stands like that and looks at the referee to say, is that not a foul? And when you watch the clip back, because you can find the clip, it is the worst, trying to buy a foul I've ever seen. He actually backs into Sergio Aguero and he thinks that he's been fouled. Honestly, shocked. Just go and, if you ever have to, go and watch clips of Shkodran Mustafi defending for Arsenal. He is absolute car crash.
He thought he was so much better than he was, though, didn't he? He had the arrogance, he had the persona, that he thought he was just so much better than he was. But, yeah, he just collided into people for no reason. he was just absolutely hopeless. The one thing he was quite good at was actually keeping possession. The one thing he was actually quite good at. It was quite a good pass for the ball. But as an actual defender, to defend centrally, his positioning was poor. His ability to win aerial duels, because he was quite small, he couldn't win them. He was just horrific to watch. Back three, back four, didn't matter what he was in. He was shockingly bad. Shockingly bad.
I've just seen here as well, which I thought would be quite interesting to bring up. So Mustafi actually started his footballing career, like senior career, at Everton, where he didn't make a single appearance, but he actually decided to join Everton after turning down offers from Manchester City and Newcastle United, because he said Goodison Park feels like home, and then doesn't actually play a single senior game for Everton. And then he gets released at the end of his contract to go and play for Serie B side at the time, Sampdoria, to go and get more game time. So he went to Sampdoria, played 51 times, then moved to Valencia, played 64 times, then obviously got his big move to Arsenal, then played for Schalke, and then played for Levante. So to be fair, considering how much of an absolute car crash centre-half he is, he's actually played for some pretty big clubs and played like a good chunk of games as well. And he's also made 20 appearances for the German senior team, which is probably why they haven't won anything in a while, because he was playing centre half.
Didn't he win the World Cup? No.
I
Or
think, I
Euros?
think he might have
Maybe,
done.
maybe.
2014, they won the World Cup, didn't they?
Yeah, he
He
won
was
the
playing
World Cup.
centre
Yeah,
half.
he did.
Oh well, it wasn't.
he played 6 times that whole entire year, but I don't know if he actually played in the World Cup on.
There's no way he would have been starting centre half for Germany in the World Cup, would he?
No,
No
I don't
way.
think he was. But it's the fact
Surely
that
can't have been.
he must have. Yeah, he's retired. He's only currently 33, so he'd have retired when he's what, 31?
That's probably down to the fact that no club actually wanted to sign him because he's rubbish.
Shocking. Absolutely.
Honestly, yeah.
He wasn't even on the bench in the final.
Oh, that's all right then. That
He's
doesn't
celebrating the
absolutely
victory,
skew my
mate. He's in a
point.
bib here, celebrating the victory. Good lad. Good lad.
He's all about like he thought he was class, and he thought that he was like one of the best centre halves probably in the world at some point, Mustafi. But he's so 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 bad, and I've got no problem with putting him in my team because he is just horrendous.
Yeah,
When
he
you
was bad. He was one of those players that if you've seen him in the lineup before the game started, you're thinking, oh, could score some goals today.
Yeah, I've never seen him not have a clanger in a game.
his
I
positioning
don't
was
think.
just so bad, he'd just give up. Or if like he was marking a player, he'd literally just go and try and get them every single time. So he'd leave his centre back space, go and press in ridiculously, leave massive holes in behind him, and then just kind of like just jog back like he didn't care. I wish I'd have known you were going to choose him, because when you think about how bad he was, that green kit that we used to have, the real light pale green, I've got it upstairs. I should have wore that. If I'd have known you were choosing him, I'd have wore that, because that top, shockingly bad, Puma, which some of them shirts that we had were horrifically bad. But yeah, he summed it all up. He was when Arsene Wenger was on his periphery of leaving. You know, he was one of the main things that was going completely wrong, and one of the main, centre backs he was choosing to use. Him, bloody Kolasinac, left wing back or left back, or Rob Holding, and yeah, just shocking. Shocking.
So do you two boys want to talk about Squillaci? Seems as you both picked him.
No, absolutely, he was worse than Mustafi, mate. Worse than him.
He was terrible. He was so bad.
Had a brilliant
So
career
bad.
early in France, though. Brilliant career.
Yeah.
A lot of appearances. Won the Coupe de Ligue with Monaco.
He was a regular there. Played a lot of football at Monaco, and was a key part in teams that went on and progressed to latter stages in the Champions League.
Won
and
the league,
in
2
European
Liga
competition.
with Olympique Lyonnais as well.
But he was in that
leagues.
He was in that team that lost to Porto in the 2004 Champions League final.
Was he?
Yeah, it was the Monaco side.
Wow.
He was in there, yeah.
Then he goes on to Sevilla and he wins the Copa del Rey in his final season there. Again, another big achievement that he got. And then he moves to Arsenal. And we signed him for $6.5 million. Yeah. Per Mertesacker was eventually signed and took over him, who eventually became our captain. But yeah, Sebastian Squillaci, he only played 23 times, but it's 23 times more than he probably should have done. He was shockingly bad. He just wasn't level at all. At all. He was slow. He was poor on the ball. He was poor in the air. His defensive position was poor. Absolutely horrific. Not the standard of Premier League. You know, a lot of players come over from France, don't they? But not many successfully do well. And he definitely did not do well.
There's a common theme here that I've noticed about obviously the amount of Arsenal players that we've all got in our squad. Do you really think that like Arsene Wenger was like trying to self-sabotage Arsenal as a football club with his signings towards the back end?
We were really
Because
struggling with finances,
I've
weren't
got
we? Struggling
I've
with
got
finances.
three
We couldn't
Arsenal
sign these
players.
players
No, I
of like
know,
a lot
but
of money. You know, a £6.5 million defender was kind of what we were going for at the time. You know, Per Mertesacker wouldn't have been signed for much more than that. Lauren Koscielny wouldn't have been much more than that, if not that price. There's so many defenders and so many midfielders that we were just trying to get on the cheap. You know, we'd have one player that's probably worth 25 plus million. But we were paying off the stadium, weren't we? And he was just trying any way to get some depth in the side while still keeping us afloat. But Arsene Wenger, for all of his credit and what he's done with us, he has had some shocking centre backs as part of his whole entire reign. You know, you think even earlier than that, like Stepanov, Pascal Segan. You know, these players were signed by him. And yeah, it was the other. I think it was Stepanov. I think the one. But then you got on the flip side, you know, Per Mertesacker was, for all his flaws, he was a very, very good centre back. He was. You know, Koscielny, I'm not having it that he was a bad one. He was really good. Yeah. Dear, just thinking now, just thinking.
there's levels to this good centre half game, and Lauren Koscielny doesn't fit in it for me. But he's not
Right.
bad enough to be in this team, to be fair.
So, Connor, I'm guessing we haven't gone for the same one next because mine's a bit left field. So, who is your other centre back who's partnering Squillaci?
So the centre back partner in Squillaci for me is Ragnar Klavan.
Oh, I played for
Oh,
Liverpool, didn't he? Klavan.
Yes,
That is poor.
wow, he was
Ragnar
bad.
Klavan. Yes, he was. He was the most expensive Estonian footballer ever when he signed for Liverpool.
Was he? How much was that?
Yep, 4.2 million.
Wow.
Big
Why was he
bucks,
so
mate.
bad?
I mean, he was. I mean, to be fair, having read a little bit more about him, it seemed like he wasn't as bad as I thought he was. But I always thought he was terrible. I thought he was an absolute cart horse. He was slow. He looked very shaky. He didn't look too comfortable or confident on the ball. But actually, he didn't do that badly, I don't think, in the grand scheme of things. I think there's certainly worse defenders than him that have played, but he was one that just always stood out to me as being
Yeah.
pretty poor. He was just one of those players that actually did quite well to begin with in his career, had a solid career in Estonia, and then moved over to the Netherlands with Heracles Almelo and AZ Alkmaar, where he actually won the Eredivisie in the 2008-2009 season. He was part of that league-winning squad. Then he went over to the Bundesliga and he played for Augsburg and became quite a dependable defender there. He made 125 Bundesliga appearances, and he was known for being fairly tidy and disciplined, but he was rarely spectacular. And then when he came to Liverpool, in the 2 years that he was there, he made 39 appearances in the Premier League, and he was a backup, really, at that point to the likes of Dejan Lovren, who was there at the time, which then his squad role became that sort of backup, really. So because he wasn't playing very regularly, when he did play, he did look shaky, he did look untidy on the ball, he didn't look as though he was always going to be one of those players that was the backup, and he wasn't going to be a starter. He wasn't going to be somebody that was playing 90 minutes every single week. But he was somebody that could come on and sort of do a job very, very much a 5 or 6 out of 10 player in most of his appearances. He wasn't exciting to watch. He wasn't fantastic, but back in Estonia, he is like a national hero back there in Estonia. So why he's gone into mine was he's the definition of the sort of player that you look at and you go, he did actually play in the Premier League. Like, unless you knew the Premier League at that time, he's like, oh right,
But he was
he did
signing that
actually
era,
play there.
wasn't he? Signing that era that who did he sign under? 2016.
So it would have been Jurgen Klopp.
Was it?
Yeah, Jurgen Klopp would have been there in.
So he must have signed him
yeah.
based upon his Augsburg, and he must have watched him
Yeah.
quite a bit and thought he'd be all right to deal with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at that Liverpool squad in the 16-17 season in the back line, you've got Nathaniel Klein, Dejan Lovren, Joe Gomez, Ragnar Klavan, Alberto Moreno, Joel Matip
Yeah.
were the defenders in that side unit. None of those stand out at all, really. I think pretty much all of those could potentially go into a team of questionable quality, really. So he didn't play very regularly in that year. Although, I mean, 25 appearances in all competitions that year he made for the club, but he wasn't really a starter and didn't really show any glimpses of massive quality when he played in the Premier League. So, yeah, Ragnar Klavan
shockingly
on the
bad.
Sebastian Squillaci for me.
Absolutely shocking. Yeah. Not Liverpool standard at all, was he? But, you know, probably did the job. We were having a conversation about like Liverpool centre halves the other day. And we were saying that like Van Dijk was always partnering someone and making them look really good. So obviously they won with Joel Matip, didn't they? Joel Matip wasn't amazing, but just steady enough to be able to work with someone like Van Dijk, whereas Shkodran Mustafi has not had that, and neither has Squillaci had anyone next to them of any real like Van Dijk levels to partner them. As you can just see, I just ran upstairs and just put on the old Shkodran Mustafi shirt, the colour that we remember him in the most, because I feel like it's
what's worse.
this episode.
I don't know what's worse, that kit or Shkodran Mustafi.
Both as equally as bad. Equally as bad. Puma did us not very well. So that is Klavan, partner in Sebastian Squillaci and Connor's team. Adam, who have you gone for?
Cash, I've gone for a cult hero of ours that we've spoken about many times away from the podcast. My centre-half that partners Shkodran Mustafi is Wout Faes.
Wout Faes. Now he is. When they was, oh my God, when they were saying he was really good, I was like, mate, this guy is absolutely trash. He is awful. Awful centre back. And I will watch him match of the day, watching him on thing and go, how is this lad playing Premier League? He's shocking. No wonder they went down.
So when obviously we came up with the idea to do our own teams and stuff like that, I was like, right, okay, and nailed on position straight away. One of my centre halves is Wout Faes, because as Cash rightly said, he is honestly, he's probably worse than Mustafi actually in terms of like actual quality. Like my two centre halves that I've gone for are equally as bad as each other, equally as bad.
What a pair of them. Your back four, mate. Carl Jenkinson, Wout Faes, Shkodran Mustafi, and Andre Santos. That is like not even good enough for League One, mate.
I know. So I think I've nailed it with my back, and then we've got Danny Ward in goal as well. So I think I've really nailed it with the back five so far of the players that I've picked. But yeah. So Wout Faes somehow, by the way, played Champions League football this year for Monaco. Just let that sink in.
That's mad. Absolutely mad.
So we'll talk about his time at Leicester, and then I'll go back to the club that he was at before. So September the 1st, 2022, Faes joined Leicester City on a 5-year deal. Apparently cost Leicester £15 million for Wout Faes.
But the reason why I think they bought him, because especially around that time, 2021, 22, 23, a lot of teams are looking for fast, quick centre-backs. Not necessarily that they can defend, but it's more about that athleticism to be able to cope in the Premier League. And he was quick. He was quick. You know, he's decent on the ball, but actually defending, shocking. Absolutely awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Doing the basics that a centre half needs to do, I don't think he understood the concept of defending.
Didn't want to defend. Same
Like,
as Mustafi. Didn't
didn't
want to
want-
defend.
Didn't want to defend. Just thought he was really good on the ball, and yeah, it turns out to be fair. Most of the time, he put the back four of Leicester under pressure himself by trying to play out. So he's probably not as good on the ball as he thought he was anyway. The amount of times I've seen him pick up the ball from Danny Ward or whoever was in goal, that Everson, and he's just going to go and spray it into Ndidi in midfield, and it's gone like 3 yards to the right of him, and then they're straight under pressure again because they always try and play out. It's just mental to me. Made his debut for Spurs where they lost 6-2 against Spurs. So he's doing really well there, isn't he, with his defending straight away, straight into the team, just conceding 6 goals. Then after the club's defeat to Tottenham, they actually went on a run of keeping 5 straight clean sheets. But I think Wout Faes' most memorable moment, or probably worst memorable moment in a Leicester shirt, was when he scored 2 own goals in a loss against Liverpool. And they lost 2-1, down to him scoring 2 own goals. Yeah, so yeah.
He's the 4th player in Premier League history to score 2 own goals in the same match.
That's a record he probably doesn't want, or anyone wants, to be fair. But like I say, so he played for Leicester, obviously. Then in 2023, he played in their final game where they got relegated down to the Championship. He then they obviously came straight back up again, and they got promoted back to the Premier League. And then only started. Obviously, the start of this season they went back down again. So obviously they went up and down, and then back down again. So obviously they started the season in the Championship, and he made 15 league appearances, and then somehow managed to get himself a loan deal to Monaco, which with the option to make the deal a permanent move between 5 and 10 million euros.
What I love
Just
about
gone from
this pod is that we jump from player to player, but there's always some consistency. Monaco. Sebastian Squillaci played for Monaco. Wout Faes is now playing for Monaco. I love it how it just jumps between, and we don't know who we're picking beforehand, but there's always a link, whether it's Wenger and Eriksson signing them, or whether it's the players they play, the clubs they play for or stuff, or the players they played with.
There's always a link. So he's gone from playing Championship level football with Leicester City in a somewhat struggling Leicester side, especially this year, especially with their all of their issues and stuff like that, to playing Champions League football for Monaco this season, and
then he'll come
starting
back
in
to
Champions
Leicester.
League games.
Come back to Leicester when they're in League One. So yeah.
And then he'll go and sign for like Barcelona or something, probably, because he's got the best agent in the world. So yeah,
dear,
but I mean,
terrible.
if you ever watch Wout Faes play football, you understand why he's in my team, and he's the one that partners Shkodran Mustafi.
Yeah, great shout, great shout.
In my team.
Saying that he plays football is quite generous, really, because I don't think I'd call it that.
No, probably not. Probably not.
So the one that I've brought to the table in my team is none of those two. So at least I'm not choosing another one. Again, controversially, but I've chosen Ian Evatt.
What?
Because he played a lot of times for Blackpool. But he did, he made 205 appearances for Blackpool in total.
He's now the gaffer there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the gaffer, yeah, at Blackpool.
Yeah, he's the gaffer, yeah.
Probably no more for his managerial time than anything else. Captain of Blackpool as well. But yeah, it's just shocking. He's just so slow. Turning circle of a tractor, I think, is the perfect analogy for Ian Evatt. He started off his career at Derby County in the early years. He actually made his Premier League debut as a substitute in May of 2001. So probably the last game of the season. He comes on and would have been he'd have been like 19, 20 at that time. Then goes to Northampton, goes to Chesterfield, and then goes to Queen's Park Rangers. And then he gets a loan to Blackpool and then obviously makes it permanent and gets Blackpool to the Premier League. He gets promotion from League One all the way through to the Premier League, which is a brilliant story for Ian Evatt, but never Premier League quality. And under here, not Holloway, I'd imagine he played really well, playing out the back and kind of Ian Holloway brought that to the Blackpool side, but a shocking player for Premier League level, not anywhere near what you need to be. But I understand when he probably came to the Premier League, he was a lot older. So I'd probably said about late 20s, early 30s, coming to the Premier League. And then he goes to Chesterfield after leaving Blackpool. And then he's had a managerial career ever since. He was at Barrow, and I remember the Barcelona, I think they were called, weren't they? In the National League,
Yeah.
because of the way that they
Yeah.
played. Revolutionised the National League and how they kind of showing how they played. It got them to League Two. Then he went to Bolton, and obviously we've been to go and watch Bolton because
Yep,
we were quite
yeah.
impressed with their three at the back system and their possession-based football they were playing, with the likes of Josh Sheen in the middle. I thought they were really fun to watch. That big lad Santos at the back. I thought they were really good to watch.
James Trafford in goal, didn't they? James Trafford in
Trafford,
goal as well at the time.
A really good progressive side. And then is now Blackpool
good
head
to watch.
coach. And I'm not sure how they're playing. I've not heard anything about them. I think they're struggling, aren't they? Blackpool at the moment. But when he gets going, I think he'll be right. But
Well,
yeah, that's Ian Evatt.
He did have a bit of an impact there to begin with. They won a few games and sort of pulled them a little bit away from trouble, but they've dropped back down again. I think they're only 2 points now off the relegation zone, so could end up in League Two next season at this rate.
Really?
I think that's just with the quality of players that he's working with, though, because like you said, Cash, about when we went to go and see him at Bolton, like they were pushing for playoffs and stuff, weren't they? At that time
Every
at
year,
Bolton.
yeah.
Like,
But always seemed to fall away, didn't they? Could never get that automatic.
No, they had some really good players. I mean, I know that Shola Shoretiri played for Bolton on loan from United at times. Obviously, James Trafford, Santos, the centre half. Obviously, they had loads of like really top championship level players, but just couldn't get over the line, could they?
But him is obviously his playing career. He played one season full in the Premier League with Blackpool. Played 2 other times with Derby, but yeah, his one season with Blackpool, which obviously ended up in them getting relegated. But a proper. We talk about Grant Hanley being questionable quality. He's of that same ilk, but he's not played for as in the Premier League as many times as Grant Hanley has. But still questionable the fact that he was ever playing in the Premier League in the first place.
Well, yeah, you look at that Blackpool squad that was in the Premier League, and you could argue that probably 90% of that team is of questionable quality. Some of the players in there should never have been near the Premier League.
No. But brilliant leadership qualities that he had, but just not very good, for the standard of Premier League that you need to be. So that is Ian Evatt. God, we got some crazy names there, haven't we, in our teams? So my back four at the moment is obviously in goal, Heredia Gomez, and then a right back of Emmanuel Abui, Sebastian Squillaci, Ian Evatt, and Herman Hreidarson. Connor, your back four?
Heredia Gomez in goal, and then Khalid Boularus at right back, centre-half pairing of Sebastian Squillaci and Ragnar Klavan, and Masadio Haidara at left back.
Back four at the minute of Carl Jenkinson at right back, centre-half pairing of Wout Faes and Shkodran Mustafi, and then left back out of Andre Santos.
I can't wait, because at the end of this whole thing, we're going to combine them. Now they're going to get in.
We're going to need to do a subs bench as well, I think.
Yeah. That's all right.
Well, that's it for this episode, but tune in next time to find out who gets into our midfield in our teams of questionable quality. Take care.